let it slide.
Nah, I done did a lot just to get by, so I can't let it slide. I escaped the mental shackles, I ain't got patience for these bastards.
Hey, welcome to 3 Count Commentaries. Let's talk about NWA When Our Shadows Fall, their pay-per-view event, which I sat down and watched because it was pretty much a matinee. It started at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, which means that it was pretty watchable. You know, you got to watch the entire show and have dinner at the same time. So I missed the pre-show, didn't go back and watch it. Unfortunately, I noticed some things actually took place because they kind of mentioned it on the show about maybe a TV title eliminator or something like that took place. Maybe I'll watch that before I watch Powerrr, and I'll be able to just do like a double review. But the first match was NWA Lucha Rules, so no tags needed. Slice Boogie and Marche Rocket versus The End, Otis and Impero, versus Sal Renaro and El Rudo, versus Mecha Wolf and Bestia Seis, aka La Rebellion. Okay, so El Rudo is Sam Adonis. Sam Adonis works in AAA. He also works in Mexico quite a bit. He's hit some spots in the United States too recently. He changed his name to El Rudo, probably to not confuse him with Chris Adonis, who works in NWA already. Of these guys, Bestia 666 is my dude. You know, I saw some matches from him from in Defy and some places like I think the Crash in Mexico. I'm pretty familiar with Bestia. Of course, I've seen Pero and Odinson a lot. I think they would be a great team in WWE. Like team them up with like the Viking Raiders. That would be like a fucking badass foursome. But this match, of course, was okay. You know, it being Lucha Rules helped. So now you had guys just jumping all over the place, and they was able to go outside the ring and keep the match going. Sal Renaro came in and did like some silly spots, of course. Him being a babyface comedy guy teamed up with a guy who calls himself El Rudo, which means the villain or the heel in Spanish, which is weird. But, you know, Bestia Seis and Mecha Wolf La Rebellion won with a 450 splash mixed with a muscle buster, 450 splash finish on Marche Rocket. They're not done with The End, though. The End got in their faces and was ready for round 2. So this match was a fine opener. Right guys won. I'm glad to see Bestia and Mecha Wolf in AAA, not in AAA, in NWA. It could be really fun. Bestia has a great look. It's very creepy. It's just, I'm surprised that no American promotion has thought to bring him in before now. Like, he must have like a bad reputation or something. Anyway, the second match was Tyrus versus Pope in a non-title grudge match. They cut promos before this match. Pope just basically said he had no time for the foolishness, and now he's gonna see how these guys who call themselves Rock Solid, you know, they call themselves Rock Solid, daddy. We're going to see how rock solid they are when the Pope put some heat under them. And then Tyrus came out and talked about Pope costing him the 10 pounds of gold, which he did, eliminating him from the tournament. Then he says that he wants to dedicate this match to Love Alive, which is a poorly run charity that he claims is a poorly run charity that misuses money. But he wants to donate this win tonight to Love Alive. And then when the commentators tell the story that Love Alive is really Pope's charity, and he's been running it for 10 years, I believe, in I think they said the city of Jacksonville or Orlando or something like that. And he was wearing a Love Alive t-shirt, Tyrus was. And he took his sweet time taking the shirt off, and then he looked like he was going to blow his nose with the shirt in order to bait Pope into fighting him, which of course he did. And Pope jump starts the match. Tyrus ended up, you know, hitting him with a nice little cut off. And he did a Tongan death grip, which goes to show that Tyrus is not really fully committed physically to the NWA and to doing too much. But Pope ended up fighting back, and He actually hit the Elijah experience on the running double knees on Tyrus, and for some reason the referees were distracted. I don't remember quite. And Austin Idol slipped um, Tyrus a loaded weapon, like some type of like a roll of quarters or brass knuckles or something, and he actually hit Pope in the chest with it. So it was like a loaded heart punch, which is actually a pretty cool finish, and pinned him. So Tyrus has a victory over the NWA television champion. This doesn't count towards Pope 7-for-7 deal because it wasn't a title match. So it's obviously setting up maybe a rematch where Tyrus probably will win the title. Very interesting, very interesting. Then we get the third match, Thunder Rosa and Melina versus Taryn Terrell and Kylie Ray. So Taryn Terrell has a real princess entrance where she has like this incredible these wings, and she's being really annoying about the wings and the train on the dress, and she's just been real over the top. And Kylie Ray is on the heel side of this thing, but is technically still being with who she was. Now, Kylie Ray apparently is now signed to the NWA, which of course would means that she's been signed to 4 different wrestling promotions in 2 years. I mean, she was in AEW, then she flaked out and jumped to Impact. Then she was on Impact, she flaked out and jumped to retiring, and then she jumped from there to NWA. I believe I saw that maybe Impact just kind of just cut their losses and ended the contract so she could sign with NWA. But hopefully she can actually follow through on her commitments this time. And she's actually healthy and everything. Gotta add that. But the Kylie Ray Thunder Rosa spots in this match were pretty good. Taryn Terrell didn't take too many bumps. In fact, she didn't do much of anything. She just was a really good personality. And Melina was just kind of present. Melina also didn't do much of anything. I think Taryn and Melina are both working with injuries. So they kind of left Kylie Ray in the ring to do most of the work on her side. And Thunder Rosa to do most of the work on her side. Then they did like a really weird thing where Thunder Rosa just was like throwing Taryn Terrell around and then picked her up and carried her away. Why? Don't know. But while Melina was like, what's going on over there? She got rolled up from behind and pinned by Kylie Ray, and therefore Kylie Ray and Taryn Terrell were victorious. This match was a waste of time. We're being honest. Thunder Rosa versus Kylie Ray is going to be fun going forward. But it seemed like you had 2 people in this match who were kind of the personality of the team, both Melina and Taryn Terrell, and they both were hurt. So who knows? The fourth match was JTG versus Fred Rosser. JTG is making his NWA debut. Dude looks good. Like he's very well built. I didn't know that his name meant Jay the God, which now I know. So that's interesting. They played the whole they know each other very well. They even said Crime Time versus Prime Time. And both of them are friends of Shad Gaspard, and they were going to work this match pretty clean in his memory and all that stuff. And even during that, Fred Rosser was kind of the one working heel. He was, when there was hair to be pulled, he was pulling hair. He was being very aggressive. JTG looked okay, in motion. It's like the match was basic as hell. It really was. Like, nothing spectacular took place. The first few minutes was just them kind of testing the waters and showing how well they knew each other. And then when they started to actually wrestle, there was a lot of basic wrestling. In-ring stuff, no dives, nothing. No real submission holds and stuff like that either. So there was kind of like some big slams and stuff like that. So it was a pretty cool match. It was just basic as hell. I'm interested in seeing more of JTG as a solo. Hopefully he sticks around NWA. And, maybe he can, that ought to be a good spot for him. JTG, he's been gone for a while. This ought to be good. I know Fred Rosser is pretty much a regular on NWA. So this was fine. The fifth match was a triple threat tag team championship match. The War Kings, Odinson and Crimson versus Chris Adonis and Thomas Latimer versus Aaron Stevens and J.R. Kratos. Adonis actually has officially abdicated the North American or the National Championship, which is dumb, but I don't know. Big Bank Billy will figure that part out when you get there, I guess. So the rules of this match is there had to be one man in the ring from every team at all times. They did a spot where Kratos' leg was jammed in between the ring steps and the apron. So he was on the apron for most of the match. And, Stevens was, talking to him, kind of consoling him while he was, selling the pain. And Stevens was there on his side, not really caring about the tag team titles as the other teams fought. He was at his partner's side, and then eventually he rejoined the match. And then for a long stretch of this match, it was essentially 4 guys beating up Aaron Stevens. And then they told the story of Kratos finally starting to come around on Stevens. He's finally rooting for him. He's like, come on, Aaron, you can do it. After weeks and weeks of him being like, being disappointed in Aaron and not really caring about him, because Aaron showed him some kindness, now all of a sudden he's being kind to Aaron Stevens, and he wants for him to root on and fight on and stuff like that. So the finish came with Kratos distracted the referee with the belt. Then once the referee was distracted, Crimson got kicked in the balls by Kratos, and that left Stevens to win the match by pinfall. Obviously, Stevens is not going to be very happy with winning the match by cheating, but it was still pretty cool that Kratos, wanted to make sure that Stevens won, considering he was just being treated like a ping pong ball by these other 4 guys for what it felt like 20 minutes, even though it probably wasn't. Kamille wins the NWA Women's World Title in a very good match with Serena Deeb. Now, I probably shouldn't say very good. It's pretty good. Let's downgrade it to pretty good. Deeb is great. Obviously, Deeb is very smooth. Her matches make so much sense. And it was a simple match. Kamille is the strong and powerful one, so she uses that. Deeb is fresh off of a leg surgery or knee injury or whatever. So they worked that, and Deeb counters with her prowess, her submission holds, and her technical wrestling skills. She at one point she works the legs. She gets Kamille in a octopus stretch at one point. There's some really good stuff here, and Kamille basically was just like overpowering her. And the finish came with a steamroller, which is it is a fireman's carry with the front roll up, and then a spear, and Kamille wins. And Deeb has been champion for a long time, so it makes sense for her to drop the belt finally to Kamille, who they've been building up since NWA Powerrr started. So this was a good move. And if they was going to do this, they should have had this match close the show, because what they did for the main event was absolute basura. Nick Aldis loses by disqualification. Trevor Murdoch wins the title by disqualification. They have a pretty much standard ass match. And then Thomas Latimer runs down to the ring with a chair to distract the referee. Then Aldis hits the referee with a chair from behind. The referee falls outside of the ring. They continue to fight Aldis and Murdoch with them exchanging chair shots on each other. Murdoch then, it looks like he's going to get the pin on Aldis, and then the referee slides himself back into the ring. And just as you think he's about to count, he actually just calls off the match. So now the match ends in a disqualification. And Nick Aldis gets to keep the belt and go on about his day, having dodged Trevor Murdoch again. So then the post-match promo is Trevor Murdoch basically like, what more do I have to do? What more do I have to do to be the world champion? I mean, I was nice. I played fair. I worked real hard. Why don't I get to be the world champion, man? I don't think this is gonna work out for me. And and I'm just kind of like, ugh. All of this. For starters, the match ended in disqualification. If this match is gonna be a DQ, you should let the women's main event. and we go home happy with a new champion. Instead of this bullshit finish. Now, Joe Galley and Tim Storm and Velvet Sky showed some real good emotion on the horrible, dastardly acts of Nick Aldis. You know, Joe Galley was really offended. You know, he called him a scumbag and all kind of stuff. It was real good. He sold it. He did a good job. Tim Storm was also pretty pissed. He did a good job. The person who didn't do a really good job was Trevor Murdoch. Like, everybody was madder about this than Murdoch was. Murdoch was just kind of like, man, I got screwed again. Instead of, you know, trying to channel what is your, like, that's the, what you're trying to channel here with this storyline is Southern Pro Wrestling. Like, if they'd have did that to Dusty, right? If they'd have did that to Dusty, do you think Dusty would have just been like, they your boy Ric Flair, he got a disqualification on the American Dream. You think you're gonna get away from me? I mean, I don't know what's going on. Maybe I'm never gonna win the world title. I don't think that's ever gonna happen for me. He'd have been like, Ric Flair, you dirty dog, you done ran away from me this time, but I'm gonna catch you one day. I'm gonna get my hands on you and I'm gonna beat you. You know, he'd have cut a fiery babyface promo that would have led us to believe that Dusty is on the hunt. That's not what we got here. We got a confused and lost Trevor Murdoch, unsure of, you know, his future and unsure what he's going to do next. And of course, nobody did anything to Nick Aldis because, you know, he just gets away with a lot. You know, I was not happy with the finish to this show. I was not happy with the disqualification. The disqualification would have been fine if this was an episode of Powerrr. It would have been fine. As a pay-per-view, though, no, that's not good. I still don't think Trevor Murdoch is a main event guy, but they're doing what they can to really make him feel like one. I still don't like it, though. I still don't like Murdoch as a main event guy. I think that the opportunity for him to really sell it would have been in the post-match promo, for him to cut a fiery, angry promo that he had Nick Aldis beat. And it's a simple thing. Nick Aldis takes such pride in being the world champion. That's what you should attack, right? You attack his pride in being world champion. You say, like, this is what you think a world champion should be. A guy who wins by disqualification or a guy who survives by disqualification. You're not man enough to defend that title. You are a disgrace to the title. You know, that kind of thing. What we got was lost puppy dog Trevor Murdoch. And I'm not a fan. I'm already not a fan of Trevor Murdoch. He's already behind the 8 ball with me. So now you didn't do him any favors. So I don't know what to do. But what did you guys think about this show? I mean, some of the matches were pretty good, you know, and it was action. You know, things moved along. And at least Kamille finally won the title that, you know, they've been threatening to put on her for a while. So now we got that, and she still has her storyline with Thunder Rosa, and, you know, there's still some stuff going on. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys for your time, and donate if you can, and I'll talk to you guys later.